Good morning.
Good morning. Look
How's
how
it
long
going?
this straw is in comparison to this cup.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us for another edition of 1 Million Cups Dallas.
Hello, everyone.
Is that caffeine, Jessica?
It is, yeah, but it has some sort of weird flavor in it. I don't like it. I like my coffee black. No sugar, no cream. Black.
Wow.
People are like, is that wine or
I
Coca-Cola?
think how you drink your coffee says a lot about your personality.
Yeah, well, how do you drink your coffee?
I like a splash of controlling and detail oriented is what mine says. I have 2 splashes of oatmeal cookie, whatever that stuff's called, and then 1.5 of Splenda.
1.5.
Yes.
Do you say this to people when you order coffee out?
I do. And I save those halves too. Yeah.
So, okay, I wish if you are watching right now, tell us in the comments what your coffee order is. How do you drink your coffee every morning so that we can get a psychological profile of all of our attendees?
I think people that drink black coffee are straightforward and to the point. And that does describe you, Jessica.
Oh, thank you. And also lazy, probably.
Yeah, I didn't think about that, but okay, good point.
Yeah, I just can't take the time. I'm super excited to be here. I didn't get to be with y'all last time because I had to go to court. Boo. But I am super excited to be here. I heard that it went very well. And the question is really, did you miss me for this dynamic?
You know what? We didn't.
That hesitation.
We did mention you, but yeah, it flowed.
Okay, no, you know what? If
No,
you were a boyfriend and I was like, did you miss me? And you hesitated this much, we would be in a fight right now.
That's like that question, like when you ask, do I look good in this? Those are questions just trying to start stuff when you ask things like that. So I would never answer that if we were in a relationship.
I just want a specific answer. I don't want the truth.
Jessica, I referenced you several times. I referenced you. I called you my PIC, partner in crime. Yeah, I did. And then about after 15 minutes, we forgot you were missing.
Okay, well, that feels like too short of a time, but that's fine.
A happy Cinco de Mayo, I feel like I should say
Cinco
too.
de Mayo.
Yes. I mean, it doesn't really reference us since it's so early. We can't really celebrate, but.
Yeah, Cinco de Mayo. You know, you do you.
That's true. Good point.
Unless you have a problem and then seek help, you can reach out to me.
Exactly.
Cinco de Mayo, it's State of Entrepreneurship Day. For those of you who are based in Dallas, State of Entrepreneurship, Dallas Startup Week is this evening. There will be a Zoom. Well, we can talk about that at the end. But yeah, exciting day in the Dallas startup community. I'll give a little bit of background for those of you that this is your first time watching 1 Million Cups Dallas or 1 Million Cups in general. 1 Million Cups is an educational initiative. This is the part where I feel like I'm reading from a teleprompter.
And she's not either.
I've just memorized it.
That's right.
1 Million Cups is an educational initiative of the Kauffman Foundation. And it's cool because every Wednesday morning when you hang out with us at 9 a.m., not only are you supporting the local entrepreneurial community, but you're participating in a bigger conversation with over 500 chapters throughout the United States about entrepreneurship in across the country. So we are always excited to be here. We facilitate our chapter and our connections and networking through kind of 2 portions of our program. The first is presentations. And this is a way for y'all to learn about cool stuff that entrepreneurs are doing throughout our community. And we will have 2 presentations normally, each running somewhere between 6 to 10 minutes. After the presentations, that is your chance to ask questions, get additional information, give feedback, whatever it may be. The only thing we ask of you is that you keep your questions short so that our presenters have time to answer all the questions that they may have, and that you keep it constructive. You know, sometimes we need to give a little bit more constructive feedback as opposed to positive feedback. Sometimes it's all good things. Both of them are accepted as long as you do it respectfully. And keep in mind, we don't need anyone crying here. You're not Gordon Ramsay. Chill, like, I can't say that on Facebook. This is why
we haven't had anybody cry though, Jessica.
Well, and I don't want this.
Have you? I'm just. Oh, okay, got it. Okay.
I mean, I've probably cried.
Okay.
At some point, but I'm talking to myself. This is really
okay.
I talk to myself. No, we do appreciate y'all are always really respectful, but just in case one of you feels like being a troublemaker today, don't do it. This is not the day for it. And then normally we would have networking after and be able to hang out and eat pastries of some sort and drink coffee. We are hoping to be back with you in person soon. We have a plan for that. Did you announce that while I was talking?
I did
What?
last week. Yes.
What?
But we didn't give full details. We just said startup week. We're hoping to come out swinging live with something hot and tasty to eat. We kept it very general.
It's like when you have parents and one of them has to babysit for the afternoon and then they give them their Christmas presents just to distract them. That's what happened. I wasn't here for 1 week.
We were just keeping the train moving. Yeah, literally.
Take hold.
It was like such a little drop in the bucket, just saying, hey, we're excited to be coming back hopefully this August. So not a lot of details.
Yes.
Not a lot of details.
Back in person. We're super excited about that. So y'all can see Jasmin's meticulous coffee order and my lazy coffee in person. What other information do we need to give them?
I mean, I think we're on all the social channels, so feel free to connect. We also are building out our team, so if you're looking to get involved or volunteer more or support the startup community, entrepreneurial community here in Dallas, definitely reach out, send us a DM. Specifically, since we're going to be coming back in person, we usually have a whole crew for those. So if you're looking to get involved, we would love to have you. So definitely reach out.
We can, and just know that you're not replaceable. I'm replaceable, but you're not.
No, Jessica, of course not.
No, we have two awesome presenters today. I'm very excited about them.
Yeah.
And both of them I haven't seen their presentations, but I've seen the main page and they both look very aesthetically pleasing.
I would agree with that.
Pretty excited about it. Do you want to bring up your MD visit, our first presenters?
I'm hoping Chris and Kim have been caffeinated and are ready to go.
They ran away. They heard us talking.
Jump out of our skin right now.
What's in your coffee? How do you take your coffee?
Yeah.
Well, Kim on the chat board, she said a quarter cup of hot milk. So,
quarter cup.
European style hot milk.
We have to heat our milk in the microwave, and then we just kind of blend it all together, but no sugar, no, tricked up stuff.
See, that's like the middle ground.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jasmin over here on one side of the spectrum, me over on the other.
That's right.
Reasonable orders in the middle.
Yes.
But to each his own.
Can you tell us just quickly before your presentation starts, maybe a quick little 15-second elevator speech of what your MD visit is?
Kim, you would go?
Yeah, we kind of incorporated it a little bit into the presentation, but this is pretty much the core of what it is. This is a digital voice recorder. It is as old school as you can get, but it works really well. It's got big buttons, which we'll explain later. It's three procedures that you can do on it: record, stop, save, and play. The reason it's your MD visit is that we have been getting involved with and been very cognizant of the patient empowerment movement from personal experience, and we really wanted to solve a problem. And the problem is that probably mostly in the baby boomer generation, people are going into doctor's offices, they're having a consultation. If one of the first few words in the consultation is cancer, surgery, something that's life-changing and heavy duty, studies show that 80% of that is gone after the time you leave the office because you're not listening anymore. You're thinking oh my God, what's going to happen? What's going to happen to my kids? What's going to happen to me? And the doctor's continuing to talk and giving you very, very vital information. Happened to both of us personally. And we realized
we'll let you go ahead and get into your presentation. It sounds like you're almost there too. So your MD visit, if you guys have comments or questions, feel free to leave those on our Facebook page. We'll go ahead and leave off.
Okay. About to share. Oh, it should be shared, huh?
so this just.
Yep, you're good to go. It's live.
It's live. Okay.
It's hard to get there we go.
You can see it?
We can.
Okay, great. This is our logo, and this is a little bit about us with a pretty goofy picture. And I'm Kim Meth, and I started my consumer product experience back at Disney Consumer Products in New York City back in the 80s. But I started a promotional products company, Timeline Promotions, back in 1994. And it's been a successful promotional products company. We started this business started talking about 2 years ago. I also currently serve on the board of Dallas CASA. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but we advocate for children in Dallas that are in foster care, that are abused and neglected. And I'm a 2-time cancer survivor.
My name is Chris Sider. Good morning. It's great to be here. I am Kim's PIC. And so just wanted to give you a little bit about my background. I've worked in technology for my entire career, both in consumer electronics and computers and networking, and also a professional jazz trombonist, which has not a whole lot to do with this, but still it's what I've done for a long time. And I've had, as Kim mentioned, had a medical experience over the last couple of years that made me realize the importance of patient-doctor communication.
So this question, what do the doctors say? Everybody at one point in their life has asked someone who's been to the doctors, sometimes a parent, sometimes a spouse, what did the doctor say? And oftentimes the person will say, I don't really remember. I remember the first couple of things, and then I really don't remember the details. And what Chris and I discovered was that research shows that was done by the Dartmouth Institute for Health Policy and Clinical Practice that people forget up to 80% of what they hear during an average medical visit. And that was astounding to us.
We've also found out that research shows that recordings can help you make up for fuzzy memories. Even if you do hear what the doctor says, a lot of times you can misinterpret certain things that he says, or you can miss important details about medications, prognosis, follow-up appointments, that kind of thing.
So your empty visit, what really in a sentence is it provides the simplest and most secure way to prevent the loss of important details discussed during a doctor's visit. Why would you use this device? It's easy to use, just as I said before, just touch and record, slim design, and it's 100% completely secure. People are a little nervous with recording on their smartphones, putting that information up onto the cloud. It's medical information. It makes some people, not all people, but it makes some people uncomfortable. And that's just a picture, simple 3-button operation like I talked about before.
This is a really hot topic in the medical community. Recently, a company called Abridge, where you can see the screenshot to the right, raised $15 million in venture capital to develop their apps. And there are other apps that have been released of late, MedCorder, My Doc Replay, and they're all terrific. They are highly functional, but they're apps. And what distinguishes Your MD Visit is that it's not an app. It addresses a particular part of the market that would be resistant to apps, smartphones in general.
And basically, smartphone apps are not for everyone. Have you met your parents, your grandparents? The idea of using an app although it's hard for us to imagine, to many, many people out there, it's something that they would not do. They would not download an app. They wouldn't know how to use it. They would freeze up in the doctor's office. Whereas our device is just really bare bones simple. So Your MD Visit is not an app. Patients can share the recordings afterwards with their family and friends, and it's just very simple to use.
Next one. Also in our research, we've identified customer demographics. We know that, as Kim alluded to earlier, that it's probably more the older set, the baby boomers and above, who are technologically resistant, and their kids who have aging parents or know of parents who are resistant to that technology. And if you're familiar with the medical alert system, there's the commercial called "I've fallen and I can't get up." So it would resonate with the people who would use that.
One of the questions that we've gotten in our research, is it legal? So you can secretly, in 39 out of 50 states, it's legal to secretly record. Again, diving a little deeper into the research, doctors are open to it. So the idea of recording secretly, I think, is going to become less and less of an issue. Patient empowerment is more about the patient saying, all right, doc, if you don't mind, I'm just going to record this. And that doctors are, becoming more and more open to it. And we're going to show you a little bit more as to why. Not everyone owns a smartphone. It seems like everyone does, but statistics show that there's still a market out there of people that don't own or use a smartphone. And we feel that we're uniquely positioned to attract that piece of the demographic.
All right, profiles of our typical users, like we said, older people. We don't hesitate to say older people. It's not always older people. Hospital patients who are there for a particular reason. And we found that doctors don't do a lot of their rounds early in the morning. And a lot of times there's not an advocate there to listen to what the doctor's saying. Nursing home residents, cancer patients, and other patients of serious illnesses or conditions.
Just to recap, our recorder is not software, it's not a smartphone app, it's not a medical transcription service. There are apps that do that. What our recorder is a useful tool, and it's a call to action, and it's part of a movement. So a little bit about the Cures Act. This just happened in April. The Cures Act really empowers the patient. It was implemented on April 5th, 2021. The doctors must share their notes with their patients. It is now federal law.
So here's where we are right now. Step one, the product has been sourced and it's ready to ship. In fact, we're identifying alternate suppliers just as a backup. Step two, we've identified the target market. We know who we're selling to. And right now we're just developing the marketing and distribution plan.
And that's pretty much it for the presentation.
Great job, y'all.
Thank you.
Really, really interesting. So the first question we ask every presenter, and I'll ask you, is what can we as a community do for you?
We feel like we're kind of at this wall of do we continue along our original goal of going direct to consumer, or do we consider some other avenues, like possibly selling to hospitals or cancer centers? How do we reach our consumer? And I come from a very long marketing career, and I'm a little stuck because there's two aspects to our market. It's you guys, because you're concerned about your parents or your grandparents, or it's the actual 50 plus market. I don't know if we can reach them. And if we can reach them on Instagram and Facebook, would those be people that would actually be using an app? Mm-hmm. So where do we reach the people that would be thumbing through AARP magazine? Because that's kind of, I think, our biggest stumbling block right now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
just looking at the question, how are doctors with being recorded? There was a slide in the deck about that. We found that about 30% of doctors have actually recorded their consultations on behalf of their patients. And there's another stat that wasn't in the deck about how about half of the doctors that were surveyed said that they would be willing to do so. And also, in light of the CARES Act, the final rule, which again was established April 5th, I think that doctors are aware, or at least reminded, that their patients are entitled to the information that is disclosed in an appointment. And this is just a way for them to get that information so that they can retain it and reference it as needed.
I have two questions. I think the first one is, I think you've got to figure out a quick way to describe it. And I think focusing not on what it's not, I wouldn't focus on that, because I think that just puts it in the light of people to think smartphone and apps or whatever. So I think you need a really quick way to describe exactly what it is. And so I think in the presentation, you said a useful tool. I don't know if that penetrates enough. I think you've got to come out with what is it?
More specific.
Yeah, something really targeted. And then two, how big is the market size? With the other companies you mentioned that have raised capital recently, they can point to the fact that their market size are smartphone users, right? We can look at that demo. What have you got in your hands or arms around how large your market size is number wise?
We've done some research as far as how many people can have landlines. How many people? What was another one of the stats that we had used? Basically, the part of the segment of the population that was still involved with the older technologies, and that's kind of our benchmark for determining the size of the market, because apps are so pervasive in our society, and usually the articles that you read are about the new app technologies. And but we know that there is a large segment of the population that is not receptive to apps. And as far as just knowing exactly what that number is, we don't know that. But we do know that there is a sizable older population, and based on empirical evidence, we just suspect that this is something that is going to resonate with a lot of those older users and their children.
I think that seems vague, the cloudy part for me, when you say we know that there's a lot of people that don't like apps. I definitely know some that definitely don't, but I feel like that needs to be tighter, specifically how many, and I don't know how you would get that data or whatever, but I definitely know there's people that hate to use apps. But in the case of this, since you're proposing something that is going against, I think, what everyone's pushing right now, I think you've got to be really clear on what the size of that is.
Right.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think we need to dive deeper in that. We do have a lot of anecdotal information. We've done some Facebook posts, and so again, it's anecdotal. We need to get a number. I agree with you.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think it's cool. Have y'all tried going, and you mentioned going to the hospitals instead of the consumer, but it just seems like the medical professionals themselves would be an easier way into the market, because they could order in bulk. So if I wanted all of my patients to have access to this, or I wanted a certain percentage of my patients to have access to this, I'm going to order in volume, as opposed to one-off consumer sales, which are going to be really expensive for you to acquire. And you're going to have to do a lot of them. And also, I think it allows you to get ahead of the narrative from the medical provider side of, this is a huge liability because, and this is just me, but anything that you're recording can be used against me, right? And so my initial reaction as a medical provider is, I don't want you recording me, because I know for a fact medical providers are very careful with what they will put into their notes and how they will put it into their notes, because of liability reasons. And so the CARES Act, I am so used to saying CARES.
CARES.
Yeah, it is great. But I don't think those notes are going to be that helpful, honestly, knowing a lot of medical providers and what they put into their notes. So I think my reaction as a medical provider would be, hell no, I do not want you recording this. I don't really like it when people ask to record our sessions that we have. So I think getting to the medical providers and saying, look, you have this amount of liability that comes from maybe you said something you shouldn't have, but I would do some research on how often or how many cases are based on things they did say. The person just was not taking them in, and flip that narrative around and say, you're actually protecting yourself from liability because I bet you're telling your client or your patients that they need to do X, Y, and Z things, but they're not hearing you because they're freaking out. And so you're protecting yourself by providing them this thing that they can go back and listen to when they actually have the ability to process it.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think that could be really interesting because I just think you're going to get the individual consumer. People get so weird around doctors. And so I think if the consumer's the one that has to proactively say, hey, are you okay if I record this? I think some people just won't do it, even if they have it, because they don't like that potential for conflict.
Right,
or
right.
that like awkward conversation.
I think one of the selling points too to the medical community is that it's actually going to save them time, because if you walk out of there and you have it on a recorder versus you're calling back, your children are calling back the office, their staff has to take the call, then the doctor has to return the call. That's time and that's money. And I don't know about you, but the last doctor's appointment I was in took 7 minutes, and you're out the door. So yeah, I think if we could sell it to them on the idea that it'll save them follow-up time.
Yeah. Well, in the hospital admins, I mean, really, you don't need to sell the doctor. If I'm a hospital admin and I tell you this is the policy and this is what you're doing from now on, they have to do it to some extent, or at least they have to buy your product, whether they use it or not.
Yeah.
Looking at another comment by Jolene, distribution to pharmacies, I think, is your best bet. And that's a really good comment. We've considered different distribution channels, whether it be a CVS or a Walgreens, something like that. And it would be if you are going to sell directly to consumers, this would be the kind of product that may be an impulse buy. Somebody is in for a medication and they see the product and think that might be appropriate for their parent.
Yeah, I would say one final thought on my end would be the comment you made earlier, Kim, about do we go direct to consumer or just go, to organizations or facilities or hospitals or whatever. My only concern would be the competitive nature of this, that anybody can really replicate this. So I would start thinking about the platform itself of what you're building outside of the actual tool, because anyone can come and go find out, get a manufacturer and create and get lesser and create something different than what you've done. But if you create an actual platform of education and content around it, that would allow you to still promote to direct to consumer, because you definitely have to use the social channels. But the demographic on the social channels are all smartphones. But you could still create information and a brand around this so that if someone comes in and tries to knock you off, you've got something besides just the tool. That would probably be my biggest concern as a marketer, is that somebody could quickly come in and do what you're doing and you don't have anything else around it. So maybe think about building out an actual education content, videos. I mean, this is a big beast though, the content marketing piece of it. It's annoying, but it's there, and it's both your selling tool, your brand awareness tool. I mean, it's so important to do. So maybe think about content as it relates to building out your platform.
Yeah, we actually started a Facebook group called Patient Power to talk not only about our product, because that would be a little too self-serving, but about patients taking back their power and making sure that they know they can get their notes. Not everybody knows about the Cures Act, and knowing that there are apps available if you're app friendly, and if there's not, if you don't want to do an app, then there's this. But there definitely is a movement going on right now that we could, leverage. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and thought leadership, you both have extensive backgrounds. I think that would be another way to differentiate yourself as you out there doing some thought leadership pieces, investing a little bit on PR so that you're actually being asked to come and speak about these things. I think that could put you out there so that you can kind of come out the gate, a little first before someone comes to knock you off, because they always come. So I always just prepare for it. So.
Yeah, sure. Well, there's no doubt that there's a lot of recording units out there. We just discovered this one because we thought that it was simple and was more appropriate. But again, like you said, it's out there for anybody to investigate and come up with a competitor.
Yeah, and I think just to Jolene's comment, I don't think doctor's office or hospitals would be selling them. I can't see them being in that business. It's really more like a service. Like, hey, you're a patient here. We're going to lend this to you to use for this particular purpose. Yeah, the last thing anyone wants is another charge from their doctor or hospital. Plus, a hospital would probably charge like $9,000 for it.
For sure.
Cool. Well, thank y'all so much. We really appreciate your presentation. It was amazing. We always love hearing what our companies that have presented are doing after they've presented. So we'll check back in with y'all maybe a year or so from now and see where you're at and how you've grown and what you've learned in that point. But definitely be sure to check back in. This video is posted on our social channels and tends to get traction the longer that it's up there and people have questions and comments that they post. So definitely check back in. But we appreciate y'all so much for being here with us this morning. Thank you. And for all the work you're doing. And we will check back in with y'all later.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for the feedback. Thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited about that. I think this is the time now to just focus on healthcare. People are really focused on their health and wellness. I think COVID increased some of that. But this patient power, though, is pretty huge. When my father passed away, we felt like we really didn't have a lot of outreach and education with the hospital. Felt very limited. So that tool would have been huge for him because I can already tell you he's been gone for a while, but he hated technology back then. So he would not be a smartphone person. He'd be a cricket person for sure.
My favorite part of that presentation, honestly, they said they referred to a group of people as app friendly. And I just find that to be so interesting, that verbiage and that description is like a characteristic of someone.
Are you app friendly?
You know, I download apps and I don't use them.
I download tons and use two.
Yeah. I don't really like apps that much just because my biggest pet peeve is apps that do one thing, like one really specific thing. And it's like, but I get what they're saying. I don't need Tim Cook having my doctor's visit recordings on his cloud. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, my mom is very big on the privacy situation. In fact, I'm gonna go ahead and tell her, but she has like fake profiles set up on Facebook so that she can actually do her stuff on social. I'm like, Mom, first of all, you shouldn't have our photos on the fake profiles. That's the red flag. Yeah, she has them on there, so I'm hoping she's watching this too, because she's
love it. Also, you're like, it's the information they collect in the background that's the problem.
I told her, I was like, okay. She's cat, and I had to explain what catfishing is too. She didn't even know that's what she's doing is catfishing people.
Now, every time I see like a random profile, I'm gonna be like, is this Jasmin's mom?
All you have to do is click on there. She had a picture of us at Christmas like 7 years ago. I'm like,
so it's actually just a real profile.
She's defeating the purpose. So with that being said, I'd love to go to our next founder, Jolene.
I'm very excited about this because I'm pretty sure it has to do with Disney, and
it does.
I am obsessed.
Well, I couldn't believe that Kim was also a former cast member, and I was like, oh, it's like a former.
Very serendipitous. Yes.
Amazing.
What do I do?
Disney. Who is your favorite Disney character? If you, out of all the Disney characters, we're just gonna derail this presentation.
To be honest, this is an old school one, and I like the old school Robin Hood, the fox.
Oh.
Like yeah.
That's a
Robin Hood.
Psychologically, how are you gonna classify?
Yeah. We should start asking this question instead of coffee. Well, but coffee's more on brand, I guess. But,
yeah, Jessica.
But I like this question more.
Did you ask yours? Who's yours, Jessica?
I would be Elsa.
Okay.
Specifically Elsa in Frozen 2.
Of course.
She sees herself as the hero, but she's really the one always just causing problems that other people have to solve.
I have to think about this one because I'm so far removed from Disney. I can't even think of. I'll have to come back to this after coffee. I know I watched as a child, but I was also one of those really studious kids too that read all the time.
Get out of here with that. You have 10 minutes to figure out who your Disney.
Let me think about it while she's presenting, Jolene. Can you give us a quick little 10 second 15? What is Practically Magic for you?
Yeah, Practically Magic is a itinerary creation app that is geared towards travel agents who do theme park vacations.
Ooh, this sounds.
I was just thinking about theme parks the other day. I want to go to Six Flags.
I love it.
Can we do one MC on the road? Six Flags.
Oh, that does sound fun, actually. That sounds. My niece is Disney World for the very first time, and she's upset. I know. She sent me like a pretzel that's shaped as Mickey, and I asked my brother how much it was. He said $20. I was like, sounds about right.
Yeah, that's
she's so fun. She's so fun. So I'm excited about this. Well, Jolie, we'll go ahead and let you have it.
All right. So, okay, perfect. We are good. No, we're not. We're going to keep it this way. All right. So, I am Jolene Stevens. I am the founder of Practically Magic. I'm going to give you a little background on me. I started, like Kim, at Walt Disney World. Well, not Kim wasn't Walt Disney World. She was New York. But as a cast member at Walt Disney World, I worked in the parks. I worked in sales, and I spent on and off about 5 years with the company. And then I was young and I needed to move to New York City. So I did that and then moved on and worked for Segway and launched the Segway and worked in an advertising agency and did lots of fun stuff there. And the reason why I tell you all this is it's a long road to get to Practically Magic, but about 5 years ago, before I started Practically Magic, I started another company by the name of Go Magic, which is a travel agency that specializes in Disney and Universal vacations. And with this, as we all know, COVID hit this past year and really shook basically the entire industry. And it gave me time to look at the processes, what my processes were, and if there was anything that I could really optimize during this time. And that's where Practically Magic came out, is because one of the things that we do for some of our clients is to create detailed itineraries. And that's really laborious. It's very time consuming. And what I wanted to do is create an app that not only I could use and my agents could use, but that really our industry could use. And so this is the product that it produces, which is this itinerary that has kind of an overview of what their days are and then more detailed information. And, it really allows the travel agent to be able to provide something that's very professional. The agency owner knows that it's very consistent. And being a travel agent really allowed me to look at, okay, how do we really do these things and what's going to be the easiest thing for the user to create these kind of itineraries. So it's really simple, drag and drop. It has some really neat features because sometimes people change their dates. And so I wanted to make sure that there were easy ways to do that. Or like in this example, if someone shortened their days or changed their days, this app will notify the travel agent and say, hey, wait a second here. You have some items that you need to either reconfirm or you need to reschedule. So that has been kind of my project this year of trying to figure out, okay, what is going to be really useful to them. So people can add their own content if I don't have the content in there, but this does come with all of Walt Disney World and Orlando, Universal Orlando right now. And it's very, very simple. All the information that you need to put in really is kind of the client's name, whatever you want, dates, and then you're off and running. So my market is really kind of very interesting from the standpoint of The travel agency world is really changing and has changed in the last, 20 years, because when we talk about kind of the brick and mortar agencies, they're really kind of on the decline, and much more home-based agencies are definitely coming online, and also specifically Disney-specific travel agents. And part of that is, a lot of people are now going on Expedia, Travelocity, Kayak, all of those sort of places to book their own travel. But when it comes to Disney, it's still super logistics intense, and there's always something new coming out. And so people use travel agents for Disney specifically, because when you start going down the rabbit hole of trying to plan it, people are like, okay, just tell me what I need to know. But within the travel agency world, you have the professional travel agents that are doing this full time. And then you have the part-time or side hustle agents that are, maybe they're booking 20 to 30 trips a year. And then you have the hobbyists who really, maybe they're booking their friends and family. Maybe they're booking 5 trips a year. And what's interesting about these different markets is there are other itinerary tools out in the market. And one of my favorites out there is really feature rich and really beautiful, but it's $40 a month. So for the part-timers and for the hobbyists, $40 a month may not be within their operating budget. So I really wanted to come up with an app that maybe not as feature rich, but had the content that they needed already in there, and at a price point that was going to be a bit more reasonable for them. So this is a subscription-based app that is done monthly, and it's $15 a month. And like I said, it's really geared to the people who are just doing Disney, Universal, maybe some Legoland. You can, if they're doing a cruise, you can also input that. And then as far as we go for the future, I'm still adding features, and I don't think that will probably ever end. I am looking at whether or not to do like an HTML. Right now it's a PDF. I'm looking at whether or not to do addresses in HTML or to create a mobile app where people could use it through there. I'm not sold on that yet. But also in the long run, maybe adding a consumer model where you could purchase a pre-selected or pre-populated itinerary, and then you could go and modify it and put your information in for, let's say, dining reservations or what have you. And that is it. That's my presentation. I'm a fast talker this morning, evidently. But I'm happy to answer any questions.
That was awesome. Thank you so much, Jillian. Your coffee kicked in right when mine did too. As always, because Jessica is in mid-munch, she didn't offer us any snacks or anything. She was going to literally eat in front of us. We always ask at in the presentation, what can the 1 Million Cups community do for you?
So one of the things that I am still kind of trying to shore up is, so I had an amazing developer that I've worked with for the last year, and unfortunately, he got a really great job offer, and he's leaving me. So I have somebody in the interim, but long term, I'm looking for a really great development partner.
Okay. That's
awesome.
Definitely
we have a lot of developers that tune in, so I'm sure someone in our community will be able to reach out to you about that, and we'll be sure to put all of our presenters' contact information below in our comments at some point after we finish up our live recording today. So if you want to get in touch with them for some reason, we'll put their social links. I'm not going to give you their personal information because that'll be.
I was like, you're going to put them.
Probably
Okay.
But we'll put their social links and you can get to them through there.
Love it.
I'm just going to give out Jolie's home address.
All right.
How'd you get that?
Julie, are you pre-revenue? Has this launched, or can you
this is great. No, I launched in January.
Okay.
at the very end of January. And so far I have about 85 users, and about 250 people who have tried it. We're still in this area of people maybe not needing to do itineraries. So I'm super curious, like once we get fully back online, what the conversion rate will be, and if I'll be able to pick up any more of those people who tried but maybe decided not to join right now.
Okay. Yeah. Are you getting any feedback through the platform or maybe from something you're sending out after about why someone's not converting in that particular way if they decide to leave or they never engage with the platform or whatever?
I'm getting a little bit of feedback. Some people have expressed like, I'm not ready to make itineraries yet. So that's why I've gotten that. I haven't gotten a ton of other feedback. I know that there's some people who were using this, another itinerary tool, and they need all the features on that itinerary tool. So although I have also gotten feedback from somebody who uses the other itinerary tool, but he's like, but for Disney, I'm going to use yours because it's going to be easier because I don't have the park library in the other one. So that was a super, super encouraging.
Yeah, that's awesome.
How did you come up with?
Sorry.
That's okay. Go ahead, Jessica.
Now,
sorry, our coffee kicked in. Sorry.
Just like this weird.
But we did this in person too, Jessica.
Question. I have no other comments on that.
Jessica, we talked over each other in person too, so let's not blame this on virtual, okay?
Microphone.
Exactly. How'd you get the name, Jolene? Because when I heard the name and then heard the presentation, and just me putting my marketing hat on, I feel like I feel a little bit of a disconnect for me, but I also not have children, have not been to Disney World, and don't know about this magic.
Wait, you've never been to Disney World?
No, I've not. I did not.
This explains so much about
it. Doesn't it? I know. I've never, and that's what I mean.
You need to go to Disney.
I know.
And a tool that can help you plan that itinerary.
And that's what, like, maybe I don't know about this magic you guys are all aware.
Yeah. So magic is actually part of like a bazillion travel agencies' names, like Travel with Magic, Magic Plus, Go Magic. They're the Disney focused agencies are Magic is part of that.
Oh, okay.
The Magic Kingdom is,
got it.
And so practically meaning practically, like this is a tool. It's a practical tool, sort of thing. But also like it's practically magic, meaning like it's super easy. And so yeah, the magic part was really from the standpoint of dealing with theme parks, Wizarding World of Harry Potter, magic. And so that is very much a theme park for Disney and Universal theme park theme. But yeah,
so, how do you think about it scaling or getting bigger? It sounds like then this is a Disney focused brand. Is that just the way you were building it out to be?
It's a Disney and Universal, definitely. And so, yeah, the scaling really comes in two ways. So like I said, when it comes to Disney focused travel agents, those are growing. That's a part of this industry that is growing. And part of that is the ability to work from home, the ability to do this part time, the ability. So the number of, moms or, just people who love Disney, I know some first responders who do this and they're kind of like side hustle kind of thing. That's growing. But the other thing is to go direct to consumer. And that's what I was talking about. I don't see that happening for a while because I really want to focus on making this tool really great for this industry. But long term, it's possible for the people who are not working through travel agents. They still are looking for the best ways to get through the parks. What's the strategy to so you don't have to wait in those super long lines? And if I can provide them a canned itinerary where then they maybe they add their flights to it, or they know that they have a dining reservation and they can add that into that itinerary and really modify it for them. That's how I because the number of people going to Walt Disney World, like that market is gigantic.
Yeah. Okay. So Kim said her first print ad headline for Disney was "Do you believe in magic?" How cute.
So there you go.
I forgot about that, Kim. Totally forgot. Okay, totally forgot about that. I remember that. I remember now the Magic City, and now I got it.
We are going to do an on tour One Man Cups Dallas at Disney. I'm going to email someone over there. Kim, if you know who I should email, let me know. I'm going to email someone, and I'm telling you, it is going to happen.
But Jessica, do they have an adult version of
Jasmine's
this?
Going to be changed forever.
Do they have Jolene, is there adult itinerary we can plan out?
Yes. Oh my gosh, totally. Totally. There's restaurants. I mean, please, Epcot has the Food and Wine Festival. Like,
now we're okay. Now
but you have to dress up. But you can't dress up. You can't. Adults can't wear costumes in the park. But you can you can dress up.
Disney bound.
Influence. Yeah.
Yes.
So we'll work on that.
Okay, this is a baby step situation, but I'm open. I'm open to it. I need to loosen up for sure. So okay.
I think this is cool. I always like to ask this question to tech founders that are not tech people. So what have you found to be the biggest obstacle in creating a platform or even communicating with a developer when you don't have really any technical background yourself?
This is a great question. And I think this was my biggest hurdle of taking this on, is because in my other, I worked in marketing, sales, and operations, and like that I know, and that I can control, and that I can make things happen in. And it's actually been kind of a blessing and a curse that I can't code, because I think my family would have not seen me for the last year if I could code, because I would have been obsessed. And so actually, I think it's creating some work-life balance, to be honest. But the idea, I actually started taking coding classes because I was like, I want to know. And that's how my brain kind of works like that. So I think that because I'm very logic-based already, it really helped me in communicating with the developer, because it was kind of like the if-when statements were already there. Like I already was like, okay, when this gets triggered, I want this to happen, kind of thing. But the other thing that I will say, and this was I think the only reason why this turned out as amazing as it did was the developer that I had, we clicked. And that's why I went with him. I talked to a bunch of developers, and it was like, okay, I could work through this, but like I talked to this guy, and it was like he understood what I said. It was a really, really great relationship. And I mean, the feedback that I'm getting from my users, everybody's like, oh my God, Jolene, it's so simple, it's so clean, and it's like that part of it, I know, is because of that relationship and how we built that. But yeah, it makes me super uncomfortable not to be able to fix things when they need to be fixed. And that's not in my comfort zone. So Jasmine, you're totally right. Like this kind of like control. Yeah.
I know my tribe members, Jolene. I know my tribe sisters. So I already know. Trust me, I already know. But the greatest lessons I've learned is when I've let go. And it's taken a long time. I'm still not there. I have one final question. It actually goes into, I think Kim or Chris might have posted this about, you should connect with Kelly Mendel on Instagram, a big influencer and Disney fanatic. I'm already scared to go on that Instagram page, Kim, just when you just described kind of like that. But I don't see Practically Magic on Instagram. Now, to me, I don't know anything about Disney, but I feel like if I saw Practically Magic and I pull up the Instagram, beautiful images of Disney and just experiences and things. So what's your social strategy? What's the thought process about building your social brand?
Yeah, so I think it's a little bit different, because when we talk about the consumer model, I'm right with Kim, is that eventually like partnering up either on TikTok or IG is totally the way to go from a consumer standpoint. I think for right now, because I'm trying to reach travel agents, if you go to any kind of travel agent Disney travel agent seminar class. Everyone looks like me. We're all middle-aged women. It's 99% middle-aged women, and they're on Facebook. And so, reaching out to them on Facebook right now is probably, or is the best way. And the best thing about this, and I've heard other people say this, start a business in an industry that you're already in. And so the way that I have already grown is really just word of mouth. People knowing that I was working on this, people being like, I want to try it. And so that's kind of my first, but then it goes into Facebook ads, and then possibly even, going into some search engine stuff, just because, again, if I can hit the right search terms that the travel agents are looking for, then that's golden.
I agree, and I think that's so smart to focus, because sometimes you can spread yourself too thin with so many channels. But I will say this, that there's a party. It's almost like someone's hosting a party, and we're talking about you, we're dancing and stuff, but you're not there. So I think even just having a page, it would, just the nature of people travel, I think this would be growing on its own. Like, you wouldn't have to do a whole lot. Just being there in general, I think would be good to at least be there, so you're at least at the party while we're dancing and talking about travel.
Yeah.
So you can pull it open whenever you decide to do it later. Because I think the first thing a lot of people that are watching here try to go find you on Instagram. Even if you're not really ready for us yet, we might be ready for you.
Good point. Love it. Love it. Love it.
Yeah. Jessica, any final thoughts or feedback besides us working with Jolene on our upcoming trip to Disney?
Yes,
I'm open to
definitely.
it.
I think it's awesome. I love it. It sounds like, you've really taken this little break that Disney had and used it kind of in the most effective way possible, which I love to see. And I can't wait to see, just like I said to our last presenters, I can't wait to see where you're at maybe a year from now. Check back in once things are back up and running at full scale, and we see how you've been able to really harness all of the work that you've put in while things have been on pause for a little bit. So we are excited to follow you in the future, and obviously to use the platform when Jasmine and I venture into the world.
I'm excited.
For the first time, I'm gonna record the entire thing. We will be your star case study.
I'm excited. And she said food and wine. She said wine. She hit me at wine, so I'm good. I'm excited about Disney. So, Jolene, any final thoughts? How can we connect? If there's any other middle-aged fabulous women travel agents that want to connect, how do they be?
Well, because I'm up here in Seattle. I actually have a few people down in Dallas. I'm going to tell them to pop in. I would love it. You guys are wonderful. You ladies are wonderful. So thank you so much for the opportunity to share an hour this morning with you all.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was great to meet you.
Bye.
Jasmine, I don't think you can even fathom how much this is going to change your life right now.
I know.
Just find you a character to Disney bound as.
This isn't the good sales technique. I'm going to talk to Jolene first, because see, if you go this character route, I'm never going to go.
It's going to be great.
She already knew to say food and wine. She already said food and wine festival. She sent to me.
Well, she sold that part, so now I'm going to sell it.
The character piece is not going to get me to go.
Get you some Mickey Mouse ears. It's gonna.
I'll get those. Those are cute. I'll do that. But food and wine.
I wear Mickey Mouse ears every morning when I get ready.
I don't know if we wanted to admit that. With 1 minute to go, Jessica, I don't know if you wanted to admit that to the Dallas startup community, but okay.
Dallas startup community, now you know. I post on social. Okay, let's talk about State of Entrepreneurship. It is this evening. Jasmine doesn't want to talk about State of Entrepreneurship.
Oh, well, we have a minute to go. So, yes, we can definitely.
We have a minute. State of Entrepreneurship tonight, 6:30. If you have tickets, there is an in-person component. If you don't have tickets, they're sold out for the in-person, but it will be live via
virtual.
Via social. So definitely, if you go to the Dallas Startup Week website, you can find all of the State of Entrepreneurship information there. You can watch me lose Startup Evangelist of the Year for the 97th time in a row.
Well, so it'll be on this Dallas Startup Week social channels and the Dallas Entrepreneur Center too, or Dallas Startup Week?
The the virtual information is on there. I don't remember what platform they're using.
Okay, I'll make sure we tag it. Yeah, okay, because I didn't know which one it was on. Okay, cool.
Yeah, tonight at 6:30. So
Jessica, we hope you win. We hope you win and represent this for Startup Evangelist of the Year. If you don't, you're still valuable and still needed and wanted and loved if you don't win.
Yeah, but someone's gonna have to deal with my mental and emotional breakdown.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm afraid of. That's what I'm afraid of.
It's a good thing we have Woman Cups today and not tomorrow.
Good point. Yes.
But it's going to be a cool opportunity to learn about everything that is going on in the Dallas community and has gone on for the past year, celebrate some wins. We're going to have a presentation from the Fort Worth community, so I'm super stoked about that. And overall, it'll just be a good time. So if you are interested in the community, what's going on, the first kind of teaser event for the full scale week, really, let's think about this as like an opening act to 1 million cups during Startup Week.
Okay, that's a stretch, but all right, we'll go there. Sure.
I'm gonna go with. We won't tell Alex and the team of the deck that we
exactly. I think it's a good teaser for in person though, because a lot of people are dying to come out. A lot of people are still on the fence. So it'd be interesting to see how that goes.
I'm gonna put clothes on, like real clothes.
Wow.
It's gonna be great. I know. What do I wear? I don't even know what to wear.
I think the bar is so low because everyone's not been out. So
I'm gonna wear a ball gown. That feels appropriate.
Okay, you're gonna go that route.
Black tie. Well, it is always lovely to be here. I know you guys missed me. Jasmin, I know you missed me, even if you pretend it only lasted 15 minutes.
We talked. If you go look at the video, Jessica, you were referenced throughout.
Positively or negatively.
Positively.
It's like cursing.
We talked about you after the recording, so.
That's the recording. That's the video I actually want to see. Well, it's been lovely to see all of you or to interact with you. Thanks for being here. Thanks again to our amazing presenters, your MD Visit and Practically Magic. If you are watching this after the fact, be sure to leave comments, thoughts, etc. down below so we can know that you're out there and watching, and definitely check out our presenters' social tags, which we'll put in the comments after we post this.
Have a great week.
Have a lovely